Gets open for three. Dagger!
The kick in, here it comes. Swing and a miss! And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions. You like that? You like that? I like that.
You gotta like that, right? My approval ratings keep going up.
Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Welcome in Defeating the Curse. Second episode this week, boys. I'm feeling excited about this one. It just kind of worked out that the schedules aligned, and we had a chance to jump on and do a part two, if you will, for this week. LP rocking the throwback Redskins gear. I gotta ask, because it's just like really in my face right now. You guys gave me a hard time the last couple of weeks because I've been thrift shopping on eBay for Legacy Redskins gear. I love it. There's like packages showing up all the time here. My wife's a little salty about it because it's just she's like, so you're now buying used clothes. I'm like, yeah, I mean that's what I have to do because the team that I care about, I can't get new merch for that team. But that's a good looking sweatshirt. Is that a new sweatshirt or is that an old sweatshirt, LP?
No, you guys made a mistake and you guys all got pissed at Dan in probably 2005 and just got rid of all your stuff. This guy did not get rid of anything.
I
kept it all. It's all in good shape.
I mean, that looks good. That's a good looking one.
I never got rid of any of my Redskins stuff. I think what we were making fun of, Joe, was that you're thrift shopping.
Yeah, well, where else can I get it? I mean, I don't have a Chinese website that I can get Redskins gear from. And if one exists,
no. Well, you got to get the authentic stuff. You can't get the Chinese stuff because that stuff just falls apart.
So far has been I'm targeting right now the on-field jackets. Those are my favorite.
Right, but you've been a fan for 45 years.
All right, listen,
you got rid of them. He got rid of them.
Yeah, no, I actually have quite a bit of it. I can't fit in it. That's the honest answer. I don't fit in.
You've been the same size.
Thank you, LP.
Since we've known you in like 13 years old.
That's good or bad, but
at least one time a year you're the same size.
These days, my torso, I am jacked. Your boy
He's getting more swole. We'll put it that way.
I got a picture. I think I shared it with FP last week. I was repping 225 on an incline bench. I haven't done that since high school. So some parts of the body looking a little bit better, but I had to resort to buying new old clothes, but I'm not upset about it. I think, listen, it can be washed. It's fabric. It's not the end of the world. But I got the thing for me and FP. I saw you while I was wearing one of my new acquisitions. It just looks good. Like it's like it's the right color. It's burgundy. It's not this weird red thing. It's gold. It's not that weird yellow. There's no trash bag black anywhere in sight. I don't want that crap. I don't want anything to do with that. So. Yeah, I know. Whatever. I mean, I'll take some heat for it, I guess. But it feels good to rep that gear. And I've been stopped a couple times, once at the gym and once at the grocery store, where someone's like, "Where did you get that?" And I was like, "Honestly, I bought it on eBay." And you could just see it. It was a connection. It was an eye-to-eye moment. They were like, "This is a real fan." I don't know.
LP is similar. LP has the Redskins logo license plate from the DMV.
Can't get it anymore.
Yeah,
never getting rid of it.
Never get rid of it.
Oh, you can't.
And the tire cover.
The tire cover.
I get humps all the time.
You can't even let it lapse because I don't think if it lapses, I don't think they'll let you get an emissions sticker for it again. I think they'll tell you your plates are dead. You got to swap them out.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it going. Are you sure?
I let mine lapse for like 9 months during the middle of COVID, and no one said anything.
And the whole world was lapsing. That's a different use case. But all right, so we're here. It's midday on a Wednesday. Not going to broadcast. I mean, we shouldn't broadcast that so much. But anyway, regardless, here we are. There's a lot happening. We got a chance to see some of the Hard Knocks Miami Dolphins in season as they were prepping for the Commanders. I'm like almost done with the episode. McDaniel so far didn't seem like FP, like he was reminiscing about his time in Washington. Didn't seem like there's any throwbacks or any insider stuff. He made a kind of a silly joke at the beginning, but he basically said, I don't mean to cut you off here, but he basically said Sam is a baller and he's got weapons.
They revisit probably you're probably right before that part of the episode, but they revisit that McDaniels was coaching and under the Kyle Shanahan tree or the Mike Shanahan tree and kind of all of that stuff. And McDaniels, for the most part, it's like, yeah, I don't really think about it. I remember that the guest locker room is worse than the home locker room. That's the gist of it, right? Like he doesn't play it into being bigger than it is. But the disrespect, the subtle disrespect throughout the entire episode, it's insane. And then when you hear Ron talk to McDaniels before and after the game, or EB show up and just give his love to Tyreek immediately, like
It wasn't just before the game.
it was before and after the game.
It was also during. In the first quarter,
Yeah.
Tyreek made a catch, ended up on the sideline or rolled out of bounds or something, and EB was the first one there to help him up.
The whole episode, right? Like Wes Welker's your wide receiver coach, and he's telling Tyreek, like, if you're in man, get ready to, like, it's thievery. Just get ready to run past their ass.
The exact quote from Wes is, "There's no chance we get man, but if they mess up and give us man coverage, you're just to that. It's a house call, basically."
Yeah, he basically said
So
it's.
what was the first drive of the game?
100.
House call.
Man coverage on Tyreek deep.
And then Tyreek,
How does that
after he makes that catch, he's just like,
"How's your boy Quan Martin end up in
how do
man-to-man
you put
coverage?
anybody in
How's
man?
that happen? How's that happen?"
And it happened multiple times, right? I think the second touchdown was also a deep ball to
The
Tyreek.
second one was
Where he had to route adjust mid route, which is insane.
he was so
He's
far
just so
past.
much
He
faster
just
than
stopped
every
running
DB.
still. But this isn't a speed thing, right? And because look,
It's
Terry
partially a
is
speed
not-
thing.
McLaurin is not as fast as Tyreek, but
Not even
McLaurin
close.
doesn't move pre-snap ever, unless it's goal line and it's
We don't do. I mean,
Well,
McDaniels
Curtis
is
is doing the
is
pre-snap
all about the
movement.
motions. Yeah,
Well, I understand, but the Dolphins have a real number one, and they put him in motion all the time to create just that half second of hesitation on whoever's trying to stay in front of him.
you're tickling my ears. You're getting into my draft.
I'm just saying.
prospects.
Well, we can. I know. God, you're so far past everyone else. You're done with the season. I know.
Everybody's done with this season. The players are done with this season.
You're the only fan I know that's going to be actively cheering for no more wins.
100%.
Yeah. See, I can't. I'm not there. I can't mentally get there. I still want to beat the Cowboys.
Why?
Because I'm not comfortable with the team going 0-6 basically in the division. That like
I don't want there to be one iota of any possibility
there isn't
that Ron can convince this front office.
The Jets.
The Panthers should
Zach Wilson's going to quit again. All right.
He
And
just
Aaron
said he's
Rodgers is
playing
not
right
ready.
now.
put a pin in that because we're going to come back to Zach Wilson in a second. Put a pin in that one. But the Panthers are going to end up with the first pick, and then the Bears.
I don't care about draft picks. I want to lose 6 straight so that Ron Rivera can't find a way to fumble his ass into a fifth year.
Oh, there's no
It's
way.
done.
There's
It's done.
There's
It's
no way.
done.
It's
It's been signed.
Any
Signed,
believe
sealed,
it.
and
if
delivered. January 8th.
If Harris allows for that, he would be the fastest owner to lose a fan base if that happened.
He's already losing the fan base.
There's no way. There's no way.
There's
no way he's going to do that.
No way.
Listen, I agree there's no way. I'm just saying if you go 0-6,
You can't. You cannot. You can't. Like he's already on borrowed time. You can't have this administration here again. Like you won't be able to recruit free agents. No draft pick is going to want to sign here. Like I mean,
No GM is going to want to come.
Yeah. The GM, Ron, the GM should have been fired
3 years ago.
weeks ago. Well, yeah, maybe at the beginning of the season.
William
That should have
Jackson
been
III.
That should have been the Harris move of the offseason is I'm here. I own the team. I'm bringing in Eugene to my analytics guy, and I'm going to bring in a an acting GM or someone to work with Ron from a GM perspective. Like if Ron wants to quit, then so be it, right? But like he can, he should have.
I think it was a timing thing. I don't think he could have gotten somebody in that time, right? They all have different contracts, but like unless someone's sitting on the couch, I don't think you could do that.
Well,
I mean,
Ron found a coach sitting on a couch. Didn't really help, right? But he fired his defensive coordinator and then grabbed a guy off the couch and said, "Come and call plays." On top of it.
Was he on the couch though?
No,
that's
he was
confusing
he was,
piece because
he was a
with
position turn.
Okay,
No, but he was
his
with
job
Michigan State
for
this
Sunday.
Is it because they don't have a bowl game?
No, you mean about the defensive back coach that
The guy that just the guy that Ron
Christian
hired
Garcia.
last week.
he was
Christian
just your
Garcia.
defensive back coach.
Yeah,
No,
but he wasn't a part
just-
of the staff.
Exactly. Ron just signed somebody last week. I gotta go. Okay, I'll go back.
He
was
used to
Michigan
be
State.
an intern. He used to be an intern.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
and
but
who's the guy?
with
Who's the guy
Ron.
FP that's on the Texans staff? That's yet another up and coming stud. Who's that guy? Is the OC in Houston?
Slowick, our
Yeah,
old-
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bobby Slowick.
Yeah, add him to the
he's
list.
the
Add him
OC
to the
in
growing list of.
Houston.
Well, listen, what is he doing there with rookies all over the place?
Yeah.
And a second-year
Yeah.
running back, right? So, like, don't talk to me
With
about
a defensive-minded coach, so it's not D'Amico doing it.
like, listen, I'm out on EB. Like, this is my new position.
Yes,
I
100% agree.
wasn't on Monday when the last time we hit the mic, we hit go on the mics, but I am now. Like, I'm done with EB. I don't think he's the guy. Nobody interviews for a job 15 times and doesn't get it. Sorry.
Even if even if he was good enough, right? You're not going to bring in a GM, a new GM, a head coach, and then keep the OC, right? Like a GM is going to bring in his head coach. His head coach is going to bring in his offensive coordinators.
That's the way it's supposed to work, right? Go get the GM, the guy you believe in, to actually manage the team, and let that person go get their head coach, right? But I don't want to talk about Ron anymore. Like the team.
Well, even if you're out on EB, Ron, the idiot, during his presser, and I sent it to you all in the chat, he more or less said it was Terry who has complained about EB. And when Terry goes for 0 catches, and when Terry subtly says, on 2 targets, I ran a lot of cardio, for somebody like Terry to say something like that is a big
the locker room is there's no space for Ron. I mean, did you hear Allen's comments? Did you get a chance to listen?
I don't blame him at all. I heard them,
Yeah, he does a hit on Monday. I think I could pull it up actually. But are you surprised now that like Allen has been very consistent, right, all season long? Like he wants to be here, he wants to win here. He even said it. Let me see if I can pull it up because I thought it was a very telling. It was a telling clip.
He's also
he was just being transparent, right? Like, have you thought about playing in another city? Yeah, of course. Doesn't mean he's actually going to leave. But I think the time his end is coming.
Give this a listen.
He's actually got no guaranteed money in his next year. So there's also contracts, right?
Rebuilding and character and all that. My character's good. I just want to freaking win. And I can emphasize with that as a fan. You ever, and I know you've said you're going to play here and you're going to end your career here and all that stuff. But do you ever get to a point where you're frustrated, where you say to your wife, you know what, maybe I would be better off if they just moved me?
1,000%. I mean, I'll be lying if I said I didn't.
That's a tough clip, guys.
Win, and I would love to win here for sure, but I want to win first and foremost. So that's always going to be at the front and center of my mind, and everything I'm going to be doing in my career is going to make sure I have an opportunity to win.
Would that include having your agent maybe talk to the team in the offseason? This
is the kicker.
I mean, if that's what it takes, I'm not going to sit here and talk about possibilities and the future. I'm going to focus on these next 4 games, do what I can to help this team win, and then we'll evaluate things after the season.
But it had.
See, like that's I'm actually surprised he said the words. I really am.
It kind of reminds me of Kirk, actually. The way that Kirk talked when he was going to be leaving Washington.
But Kirk was
very similar language.
But Kirk was successful and disrespected.
He was actively being disrespected by the GM, calling him Kurt every 10 seconds, right? Like he was actively being disrespected. And frankly, his asking price was a reasonable value to pay for a starting quarterback at the time, right? Like it was a value.
At the time, it was astronomical.
Right. And I don't, man.
Looking back, it would have been worth it.
You go back and you sign him to a 6-year deal at $20 million per season, even if you felt like he was slightly overpaid or 21 or 22, whatever the number was, you wouldn't have drafted Haskins. You would have used those high picks on other players that you would have kept some of the key offensive pieces together. Like, could he have kept Trent Williams happy? No. But could he have done better or fared better than the I mean, just look at all of the quarterbacks.
But nobody cares about Kirk anymore. Jonathan Allen saying this.
Yeah.
To me, I get it, but also shut the F up. You have done nothing all season long. You've done nothing remotely close to how much we're paying you or worth what we're paying you. And you are the quote-unquote leader of not just the defense, of the team, right? Like it's you and Terry. You guys are the top dogs. You're the leader. And you're going to sit here and 1 week you're clapping on the Instagram pregame video saying, work, do it for the man next to you, do it for this. And you say all the stuff you need to say. First of all, absolutely terrible pregame speech. You're a very mundane, lazy, monotone leader, and it's not translating, right?
I don't think it's fair to kill him.
No, I'm definitely going to kill him on that because he's just going through the motions. Listen,
hold on.
If you're going to go on the radio and you're going to say
you need someone to, hey guys, we're gonna
no,
today,
listen, no, Joe, listen. when you have fake rah-rah, empty applause, do it for the man next to you, that's worse than anything. But if you're truly fired up,
I don't
motivates
disagree.
the team.
I don't disagree that it's.
But when you are the leader of a franchise,
he's not the leader. Who said
he is the leader? Him and Terry are the leaders of that team.
Why is he the leader?
He's been there the longest.
He's a captain.
He's a captain, but he's the guy. He's the guy the franchise has painted.
It doesn't matter. We're missing the point that we paid 2 D tackles over $100 million, right? Like you don't pay 2 of them.
You do if they
you don't pay 2 of them and then draft a Bama guy in the second round.
You pay them if they give you Aaron Donald results. If they give you Aaron Donald results.
He's not even close to Aaron Donald.
That's what I'm saying. So shut the F up and don't go on the radio saying, yeah, I wish I could go somewhere and play. Why don't you just play harder here?
That interview actually continued, and they were asking him things like, well, are you kind of jealous that Chase has upgraded his situation? And he says, no, it's not about that. And then he pivots 100% back and says, no, I still believe we can win here in DC.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is my dream, right? Like he's like, I came back to my hometown, to the team I wanted to play for, and they paid me.
Fine, but the most depressing thing about all of this is that if you were in a coma this time last year, the same needs you would rattle off are the same needs you would rattle off right now.
Plus more.
Yeah, you could argue that it's actually worse, right? But
I wouldn't say that. You have your quarterback. In my opinion, Sam is the quarterback.
But you knew
that's the biggest position.
But you knew that last year that he was going to be your quarterback this year, right? Like you already knew that.
No, you did not.
You
did not know that after one game last year.
Yeah, but LP,
I'm saying you knew that he was going to be your starter this year, right? So you weren't going to address it in the draft, but now, like, I think they have to look at wide receiver going into.
Listen, hold on, wait. Who says we have our quarterback? I love Howell. Don't get mad immediately. I love Howell.
I mean,
I'm not out on him.
You kind of slapped my hand the other day. I kind of said it too. Like, if someone's going to offer you a 3rd round pick for Howell, do you take it?
No, not even that. What I'm saying is, if you have a top 4 pick and one of those guys fall to you,
what if it's Bryce Young? What if it's
no? I think guys. This is what the Titans did. Hold on.
What's the success rate on quarterbacks? What's the success rate on drafting a quarterback?
0. That's why you have to keep.
Yeah, but what if you could say what if he's Bryce Young? But what if he's CJ Stroud?
You can keep Howell. Howell's not going anywhere. He's under contract. But the Tennessee Titans saw an opportunity to upgrade at a position of need. Right. Even if you're curious, draft the best available. If you have a top 3 pick and a chance to get a stud quarterback, do it.
Yes.
Do it.
Yeah, but hold on. Going best available gets you Fidarian Mathis in the 2nd round. That's what.
No, he was not the best available. No, he was not the best available.
That's probably what their thought process was.
No.
Best available. We have D tackles, but we need another one.
This is another reason why Ron has to go, right? Because I don't.
No, the Martys have to go.
All
and
of
Ron.
Yes,
all of them.
Listen,
come on, guys. There's no one that's a Washington fan that thinks that Ron or the GMs or EBs should stay.
But
I mean, that percentage of people.
The Howell conversation needs to be had.
If you could get a 2nd round pick for Terry, I think you have to take it. If you could get a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick for Jahan, I think you have to take it.
Nobody on this roster is safe.
If you can get a 3rd,
but hold on a second.
Howell, you have to take it.
Yes.
Rewind back to 1 year ago. Did anyone have any doubts about Terry or Jahan?
No, I do now.
They were the guys. Yeah, but how much of that is EB's offense? How much of that is EB's offense?
No, not. I don't put this on EB. Terry, I believe from the start of the season has been nursing turf toe. That's my honest opinion. He got injured in the preseason, and that explosiveness just wasn't there. What also hasn't been there, the YOLO balls that made him famous, right? Now that they're not being thrown his way, maybe that separation, and Steve has said this a couple times now, maybe that separation, that scary Terry speed that we saw early in his career, maybe it's just not there, or defenses are smart enough to scheme against it, because while he's very fast, he's not like
the sharpest route runner
or elite fast like a Tyreek. Or
no, he is a sharp route runner. He's not as fast as Tyreek.
He's not a sharp route runner because he's not getting separation.
So many options. It can only be the individual player, coach, or the scheme. Like there's only so many variables.
It's the scheme. Look at some of the top offenses in the league. Right? How much does Puka Nacua or whatever from the Rams get targeted? 12 times a game. How much does Justin Jefferson when he's playing get targeted? 15 times a game. How much does Jamar Chase get targeted. Like they target their
It's-
number one
it's-
receiver.
listen.
They move them around from the
Yeah, they move
outside
them
to the
around.
inside,
Yeah.
and they target them.
It's
In
look,
EB's offense, it's target the open guy, right, and spread the ball around. 10 receivers
No one's
get a
open.
reception.
No one's open.
Yeah,
No one's
so
open.
it's
But
scheme.
you're
Just have
no.
players in the
It's
same space. Like it's not.
is it
It's not
scheme?
as bad as Scott Turner.
No, LP.
let's
I
not-
need you. LP, I
don't
need you.
bring his name up.
LP, you're floating around everything as an answer, and you can't do that. That's a Ron Rivera thing to do, where everything is the problem, everything needs to be improved, everything is the issue. You got to give me specifics here, right? It's either going to be EB in the system is the issue, or Sam Howell is not the QB and he's the issue, or Terry McLaurin is not elite and he's the issue, or something. You got to give me something. You can't just say it's the system, but Terry's elite, because if it's the system and Terry's elite, he's going to find a way to get open.
The talk around Terry McLaurin coming
Right?
into this
If
season
it's the
was he
system
was-
and Terry's
No,
not
but that's
elite,
not-
Sam's the guy, he'll find a way to get the
That's
ball
a
out.
very simplistic view, right?
we've
There's a
always
couple
said-
things here. It's an onion. Terry is hurt. The system sucks. And on top of that, the defense does no help, right? So the defense goes 3 and out. Offense is back on the field. Offense is back on the field. Offense is back on the field.
I
No
don't
run
disagree.
game.
You
no
can reverse
line.
that, right? The offense does nothing. The defense is constantly on the field.
Well,
But the
both
defense, the
systems suck.
defense has. I mean, the defense is really bad. And schematically, Ron taking over, you would expect better than rookie against Tyreek in the open field. Like what like why
They
why
didn't
is
punt.
I mean
They didn't punt all game. Like you didn't.
They were 6 for 6 on third down.
well, and they stopped playing also. Like
They
let's not
stopped
like
the
at
rest
least-
And a
That's
lot
right.
of their third downs were 3rd and 17 and more.
To Tyreek.
Yeah.
right, who's going in motion to again just create that half
But
second
It's the
hesitation.
regime.
But that's where we come back full circle, right? Nobody thinks the front office should stay. Nobody thinks Ron and EB are the guys. But again, you have to expand it further. No player on this roster is safe. Do I believe that somebody can come in and pull a lot of talent out of this roster? Yes. But if you're a GM and a head coach coming into Washington, D.C., nobody on this roster should be an untouchable.
I
That's just
no
the
one
truth
should
of
be
it.
untouchable. but
Nobody
if-
should be an untouchable.
if this
Sam,
wide receiver
John,
core-
Dotson, all of them.
Yeah.
Terry.
But if
Nobody's
this-
an
If
untouchable.
this receiver room was unchanged going into next year, I don't know if I would be happy about it, but I also don't know if I'd be upset about it because I think I agree with you. There's talent there.
No, I would
just-
100% be upset because after Terry, Curtis, and Jahan,
They have
and
bigger
Curtis
needs.
most
Curtis
likely
is a
is
free
gone.
agent.
but they have bigger needs. That's my point.
They
have-
do,
yeah.
but you have to look at the NFL the way it's set up today, right? Browning comes in for the Bengals when Burrow goes out. They don't miss a beat because of elite receivers.
I don't know if that's fair.
Look at that game. Do they put up 31 points against the Jaguars, who aren't a
But Browning's
slouching
also
team?
not necessarily a bad quarterback. Look at
he's
the
fine.
Giants. They
He's
have
fine.
elite receivers.
But neither is Sam. But elite receivers, elite receivers, you don't miss a beat
but Terry-
with or without
Terry-
Burrow.
There's only like 3 of those in the NFL.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you look at the wide receiver room and how the NFL as a whole is constructed, Terry's barely elite. Dotson, even
No,
if he is
I don't think
elite,
he's- I
I don't
wouldn't-
think he's going to reach
I
that.
wouldn't put Terry in the.
But after those two, you have nothing in that locker. You have nothing in that wide receiver room. Pringle's trash. Curtis is gone. Crowder's 85 years old.
You're
have
talking
nothing
about
there.
guys who are on the last year of their deals. Like the only two
That's what-
receivers that will
but
probably
it's-
be around.
It's an important thing in the draft.
But I also believe that if Terry's on the Rams, he's suddenly
He's
he's gonna be elite. Right. That's the part that scares me.
Is he? We said that about Chase going to the Niners. He's been
No, we
putting up
didn't.
a lot of
No,
goose eggs.
No, we
It's-
didn't. No one
it's
said that.
It's
A
different.
lot of people said that.
Like Sean McVay is the best at scheming players open. That's why he's doing it with players, with rookies, and with less talented receivers.
I agree.
Right. So I think McDaniels is proving that he's got that as well. Again, all of the former Skins coaches seem to be able to do it. Even Matt LaFleur has kind of made Romeo Doubs into
Yeah.
almost like a Terry-like receiver. And I'm not like, it's more to hype Romeo here than to disparage Terry, but like it's scheme. Like scheme is a big part of it, and it's disappointing that in EB's scheme, there's no movement pre-snap. There's still players
Which
that
is
are,
what we said about Scott Turner.
which is and I think LP loves Scott Turner, but comparison
Since
to where they
when?
are, I don't know. I'm just saying, like there's only like a 3-point difference between these offenses year to year, right? So yeah, I think EB's done too. I don't think there's unless you're getting the GM from the Chiefs to come over who knows EB and wants to keep him here. I think the entire coaching staff is going to be overturned.
Everything has to be overturned.
Yeah,
Everything.
I think we're discussing something that's the
Everything.
inevitable.
Right, but I
just don't see anybody
there's
standing.
only so many draft picks, right? There's only so many picks out there. And you look at teams like the Packers, who basically the Packers don't have a number one receiver the way the Commanders do right now. Right? If Jahan was a Packer, he'd be the best receiver on that team. Am I wrong?
Yeah, same with the Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs are another good example of it. You know, there's only so many of those super studs, and it's like what we have here is better than the average.
Yeah, this roster has talent. Nobody's denying that. And I truly believe this can be the equivalent of a McVay taking over a Fisher-led Rams and going from continual 500 wins to suddenly Super Bowl favorites.
I agree.
Yes, I believe in that.
But you put the Commanders receivers on the Colts. They're the best 2 or 3 receivers on the Colts.
Yeah.
Maybe you argue
that's great, but that still doesn't change what you do when you're a new GM coming in here, and nobody's untouchable.
It doesn't change that, but you have
draft elite talent with that top pick. If that top pick is a QB, if Caleb Williams for whatever reason falls to 4 and we're at 4, you take him. If it's Marvin Harrison, you run to the podium and you take Marvin Harrison.
I don't know.
You cannot overdraft a lineman.
Great at receiver.
You do not
elite.
No.
You have above average to great at receiver. On the line, on the offensive line, every single spot there is below average. Not even average.
But unless there's a Trent Williams,
right? You can't overdraft.
You can't overdraft.
There is. What's that guy? Ola Falashu.
As good as he is, though, he's not. He doesn't have
not Trent Williams. Yeah.
Of Caleb Williams, and he doesn't or Harrison. Those two in particular at 3, 4, 5, 6. If they are there, and that's where the Commanders are picking, that has to be the pick.
The thing with LP is when it comes to analytics, he's a by the numbers guy. If some random CBS reporter says plus 9.5 or plus 8.5, he goes by the numbers and that's his decision. When it comes to draft records and who to take, it goes all out of the window for LP, and he just says, I want a lineman. Give me 1,000 linemen in the first 10 rounds. And that's all he ever says.
Well,
okay. I'm not a GM, so it doesn't matter.
Can we talk about a couple games? There's a couple things that stood out from, and I didn't get a chance to do it earlier in the week. And like now that the week is kind of over and we can look back, the Seahawks, there's a couple teams in particular. Okay. Like we should have beat the Bears. We didn't. We should have beat the Seahawks. We didn't. The teams that are right now in contention for that final playoff spot in the NFC are all like, we should be part of, the Commanders should be part of that conversation, but they're not. I was surprised that the Cowboys gave up so many points to the Seahawks. It's just DK was just running all over the place. But the Rams, and I touched on this the other day, the Rams to me are a sneaky good team. Like they still play sound defense, and McVay has proven time and time again, he can scheme anyone open. Doesn't matter who's catching the ball. As long as Stafford is playing quarterback, that team is going to be competitive and has the ability to go over 30 points a game. I'm kind of liking what the Rams are doing. I think they're getting hot. It just reminds me of the Giants from, I don't remember which one of their runs, but they just got hot. Yeah, they just got hot at the right time of the season and just started, just kind of blowing out teams, right? The Browns are a legitimate top 3 defense. They hung 36 on them, and they maybe could have done more. So I don't know if there's a game that caught your eyes, boys. I don't want to talk anymore about the Commanders or the Dolphins. I mean, the Chargers failed to get a touchdown. It's a terrible game. The Chargers are just ugly. The Saints are a weird team. Derek Carr got injured again. The Lions, they should have done a little bit better.
We're missing the biggest story, right? The Niners blew out the Eagles.
blowout.
right? Like,
Yeah, I mean they
wasn't
scored.
even
Cue up
close.
the tape. Cue up the tape. I've been calling the Eagles frauds all
I mean, all right, go ahead.
season long.
The floor is yours, FB. Go ahead.
There's nothing to say. But
The
frauds.
Packers beat the Chiefs.
Well,
Yeah.
the Packers.
I mean,
is Jordan the guy there now? Is this
I-
does it continue the 30 years
I
of
think
quarterback play?
Yeah, 5 wins in a row. It is 6 wins in a row over the Chiefs and the Lions.
Yeah, look,
I
and
kind of wanted them
he's
to
looking
fire
good.
LaFleur so we could hire him.
No
That
ex
doesn't look like
ex
anything.
coach is coming back here.
he's not getting fired. Why would he get fired?
No, he would have gotten
doesn't have a
fired
lead,
if
like,
he.
he doesn't have
I mean,
receivers.
the start of the season they were horrible.
Okay, but here they are finding their groove again.
They weren't horrible. They weren't horrible start of the season.
Yeah, they started
Everyone was
pretty
just
slow.
out on Jordan Love, but they weren't horrible. They were in every game. They didn't get blown out like we did.
No, they didn't. I mean, you look again, the NFC teams like the Falcons, whom the Commanders beat, are currently, I think, in the playoffs if they started today. I think they're in right now. That whole division is terrible. It's surprising because the Buccaneers, that's the other team I kind of wanted to harp on for a second. Baker's actually playing pretty well. And they're not losing by like 30 points a week like the Commanders are. And Mike Evans, just no matter where you tee him up or tell him to line up, just go catch the ball. He's going to do it. He actually scored the longest touchdown of his career, which was a wild stat. Like he's 100 years old. He's still running 75 yards down the field.
The funny thing is, if you put Baker on the Browns with that defense,
yeah, had they been more patient, maybe I don't know.
if
But
they
Baker-
let him actually heal.
Baker was also like for those 2 seasons, he was every commercial, every break. Like it was too much.
Yeah, he's like the Kelseys.
Yeah, it was the Kelseys. Yes, it was the Kelsey situation. But I mean, are the Packers? I know it was an upset, like from Vegas perspective, but didn't we kind of see this coming with the Chiefs too? Like if you can't consistently get the ball down the field, like Travis is not the Travis of years past. I mean, the
Yeah.
Chiefs shouldn't be. I don't think they belong in the top 5 anymore.
They do because the defense is still good. Andy Reid is still probably the best coach in the league. And Mahomes is still one of the top 5 QBs in the league. But what it does is it opens up your conversation about paying your QB and how small a Super Bowl window is, right? So as soon as that QB gets the money and you lose Tyreeks and you lose the ability to bring in some better free agents and weapons, that Super Bowl window shrinks really, really fast.
Yeah, I think this is the big distinction, I think, between the Brady era and the current era. Brady was willing to take less to get Randy Moss to come in and play. Right?
Exactly.
And you would have to look at the Chiefs and say, I know that the rookie is promising.
Rashi Rice or whatever.
Yeah, but
he's not Tyreek. And if you kept Tyreek, you're probably number 1 seed by a mile.
But when your quarterback, my point is when your quarterback is really, really good, the way Mahomes is really, really good, a guy like a Jahan immediately becomes valuable, right? Can you cherry pick a guy like that who's not asking for super max money? He's just, the upper middle tier, so to speak,
right?
On a sweetheart deal for a couple seasons. Can you rent him basically for the remainder of his contract? Like very valuable piece, right? Very valuable piece that can help stretch the field. And Travis might be done. I mean, like somehow
he's also
really
injured.
He kind of reminds me of like the fall off at the end of Gronk's career, where he went from like catch and run to just catch and fall over. Like he can still catch, but he's not going to be the guy that takes it to the house anymore, right? Kind of seeing that with Kittle.
Yeah, I mean, Kittle's still playing some pretty good ball. He just doesn't have to do anything because there's so many other playmakers. Kelsey, as the main playmaker, he's fallen off a little bit, but it is like LP said, he's hurt a little bit.
I think
I'll blame Taylor Swift.
No, it's not her fault. I think he's just
fault.
I mean, at 34 or 35, like it was inevitable, like this was going to happen. And it'll be interesting to see what Andy Reid does here now with that roster, right? Because they don't really have a running back. The tight end needs to be, I mean, he's fine. He's still serviceable. He can get down the field, catch the ball, fall over. But without that consistent wide receiver play, like where do you go get points when you need them?
The thing is, I feel like the last 4 games for the Chiefs, if they just had anyone but Marquez Valdez-Scantling as their deep threat, they run away with their games, right? They're just so bad at receiver.
But that was PI. Not the Hail Mary, but the one before.
We've seen it up close and personal here many times in DC. Yeah, that was it should have been called, and it sucks that it perhaps decided the game. And then the Monday night game was an interesting one too. I mean, the Jaguars are like the Jags to me are a team. I don't expect the Bengals to actually compete without Burrow. I just don't. I think as the season progresses, as you get more, I know, but I think as they get more game film, I think that production will fall off. But the Jaguars, losing their quarterback too. Like I don't know if he's week to week now or what the situation
High
is.
ankle sprain. He'll probably be back in 1 or 2 weeks.
That
No, high ankle sprain usually takes 5-6 weeks.
Unless you're Patrick Mahomes, and it took him from the
He
championship game to the Super Bowl.
I mean, he played with a noodle leg, and he made it work, right? But we'll see. But the Jaguars, assuming full health, they can beat anyone. They can score a ton of points. The defense is sound. I don't know how they'll fare if they have to go. Same with the Dolphins. Like how do these Florida teams fare when they have to go play
in Baltimore?
Specifically Baltimore. I mean, where else could they possibly end up?
Cleveland,
Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh. I'm not so scared of.
Buffalo, not Buffalo. Buffalo's too low.
Buffalo's too low. But
yeah, it's crazy. A lot of the teams that we had picked in the beginning of the season to be Super Bowl contenders are kind of in the middle of the pack. Buffalo 6-6, Bengals 6-6.
Yeah,
Chiefs,
I mean,
it's a lot of it is just the QB injuries across the league. These elite, high quality QB starters all hurt. But that's the thing. Like you're not big on the Bengals kind of surpassing expectations without Burrow. I think they can because they have a solid run game. Mixon is doing some great things.
Serviceable defense too.
They have a more than serviceable defense. Okay. And they have a truly elite receiver and a very strong wide receiver room. You don't need Browning to do that much. You need him to not mess up.
Your guy, if you can scheme him open, get him the ball, and see what happens. Okay. I mean, speaking of quarterbacks and injuries, though, is just one last pivot here. Are you following the Zach Wilson comments and the kind of the story, the non-story that became a story in New York? He basically was asking. He said out loud the thing that you should never say out loud, which is, as a professional athlete, should I play and risk injury? I was surprised that I'm surprised he asked it of his teammate. I'm surprised, and frankly, somebody did him dirty by leaking that out and kind of putting the coach in a spot where he had to comment on it. But is it a fair question to ask? I mean, the injuries on that field, that in my mind immediately went to that field has claimed more legs and more Achilles and ACLs and MCLs and whatever than any other field in the league. Something is clearly wrong with the field. Like something, that's where my mind initially went. And then as the story and the talking heads kind of kept talking about, I was like, wow, but you can't say that. Like you're still a professional athlete. You still pay millions of dollars to go out there and play a game when you boil it all down. I didn't like Salah's take on it either. Like the coach, right? He's coming in and saying, hey, it's kind of like when, collegiate players punt on their bowl eligibility, or they don't want to play in the bowl game because they don't want to hurt their draft status. Is he saying, Zach Wilson doesn't want to play because it could hurt his ability to get another contract as a backup or somewhere else in the league? I'm not sure. The whole thing it should have been a nothing burger, but then Aaron also chimed in on it on the McAfee show.
Right.
I don't know. Do you make anything of that? Like, it's just a bad look. That's kind of my take.
They're clearly headed for separation, right? Like, there's no way he's going to be on the Jets next year. Salah, I mean, like, Tim Boyle, starter, and then cut, 2 weeks later. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a very immature, hostile environment that they're in.
Yeah.
And then Aaron just needs to shut up. Like, you haven't played all year.
He's not going to shut up. He's not going to shut up. He's the story.
I mean, he's the story, but he's also. I used to be an Aaron fan, but he's also kind of annoying me now. Like
but he's going to say something.
Either play or don't play. And
by the way, did you see McAfee roast the Bulldog fans over the weekend? It was great.
Yeah,
it was great. I mean, he's an entertainer through and through. This is Steve's guy, but he's an entertainer through and through. But Aaron's going to go out there and say what he's supposed to say. I think privately, he's probably really annoyed that that's the story. It's taken away from his potential return in a couple of weeks, right?
I don't think it's a story because as of an hour before this show, Zach Wilson's going to start for the Jets. It's back. He's back.
I mean, I don't think he had a choice.
No,
could you imagine like what would happen if he was just like, I don't want to play for this team anymore?
I think
he doesn't have the clout.
I think 31 fans of the other 31 teams fans would all understand.
Sure, but it's another loss too. Like the Texans, CJ deserves Like he's clearly the rookie of the year, right? Like there's no
Yes.
one else that's going to challenge him.
Right.
He deserves to be in the MVP talk as well.
Yeah.
I think he's deserving of that.
D'Amico's probably coach of the year.
I think he's deserving of that. I think this team, and we'll see how they fare how he fares without Tank Dell. But Nico Collins, if he's out there on your waiver wire, go grab him, right? Because this team is not afraid.
If he's on your waiver wire this late in the season, you're in a fake fantasy.
Invite me to join your league.
Yeah,
exactly. But
even I could win that league, and I'm not good.
The Texans are. It's encouraging as a non-fan of the Texans to see them go from. I mean, it's just like 5 minutes ago that they traded their whole team away to the Broncos or whatever it was. I don't even remember who they were trading with. But the coach that was
Miami,
on the just trading all the pieces away as if, and then he was kicked out, and look at where they are now, right? Like Dameon Pierce doesn't get any attention, but he's a studly running back.
Look at where they are now because nobody was an untouchable. Sure. And it's exactly the formula the Commanders need to repeat.
Yeah, but they never had like a good player. Like you said, no one was untouchable. Once they traded Watson and then all that whole who did they have that was
DeAndre Hopkins?
They had Hopkins. They traded
Hopkins on the line.
35 years old. Can you stop talking about Hopkins?
No,
when he was on the Texans,
he was still a 1,000-yard receiver. Yeah, he was still.
Yeah, but they traded him at the perfect time because he had sucked ever since.
Well, and the Texans are another team like similar to the Titans who went out. They had quarterback and they went undrafted more quarterbacks. The Texans did the same. Davis Mills is a good quarterback. I mean, that was their guy.
He's putting up. His numbers last year are similar to Sam Howell's numbers this year.
My point is they thought they had a guy, and then they saw a guy that they liked more in CJ, and look at where they are now.
Right, but also if you look, I mean, Terry's old, Jonathan Allen's old. Trade them, pull a Belichick, get rid of them before they suck. Get the best trade value you can.
How old's Terry?
29.
I mean, Terry's been in the league for like 15 years.
Yes, 85 years old in wide receiver talk.
He's played with 30 quarterbacks, as the graphic tells us every week, right? I mean,
but that's like get rid of the guys now when you can get trade value for them. Don't keep them a season too long, and then suddenly you get nothing.
How many
28.
minutes?
He was born in 1995.
Okay, but he's
all of us remember 1995 like it was yesterday.
Unless they're going to go win the Super Bowl before he turns 31, right? I'm with FP on this one. Like if there's a
why couldn't they go to the Super Bowl before he's 31?
Oh my God!
Why?
How do you
look at the Texans? Look at the Texans.
They're not challenging for a Super Bowl. They're excited to win 8 games. Like we're not on the same page here.
They're excited to have meaningful December games.
Competitive in
games. They will go into the playoffs
and in the season.
They could win a game.
No,
they could win a game or two in the playoffs. The Texans.
CJ Stroud isn't going to
7-5.
Could win a game. They could.
Yeah. They could have a Cinderella
run.
They're
not better than the 49ers. They're not better than the Eagles. They're not better than the Cowboys. They're not better than the Dolphins. They're not better.
Ravens defense.
Those are all NFC teams.
Jaguars.
Okay, they're not going to get past the Ravens.
Dolphins, Jaguars, even the Chargers could beat them, even though the Chargers can't.
Yeah,
score.
but they could beat the Jags. They can beat Pittsburgh.
No, they can't. Not a guarantee.
No, not a guarantee. They beat the Jags.
No. Especially with Tank Dell on IR. It's just
hold on. There's other. Well, Tank is. Yes, the Tank injury is going to set them back for sure, but they can still run the ball. Like Dameon Pierce is a good running back.
Yeah.
They just don't utilize.
But they did it right. They rebuilt. They collected draft picks
so fast.
Look at what the Browns did. They collected draft picks, and now they have a stellar defense.
The Browns are competitive every week with quarterbacks you've never heard of.
Exactly,
every week. That's scheme. That's it. And the Jets, and that's to the Browns' credit because the Jets are trying to do that
team
too.
And trading for draft picks and then having proper talent evaluations.
How many minutes of the Thursday night Patriots?
Don't put the Browns on a pedestal. They signed Deshaun Watson to a massive deal.
No, I am going to put them on a pedestal, just like the Lions. Would you rather be the Lions or the Commanders?
Lions.
The Lions.
Would you rather be the Browns or the Commanders?
Browns.
Of course.
I don't know, man.
With the exception of the Patriots and the Panthers, there's no other team that I would say I would rather be the Commanders. No way.
I would rather be the Commanders than the Jets. I'd rather be the Commanders than the
Jets have
the
Jets have
Raiders
defense.
The Jets have a fantastic roster outside of QB.
Yes,
because
they're legitimately missing one piece in New York.
They have truly elite wide receiver. They have the 2 best corners in the league. They have a fantastic defensive
I don't
line.
believe in their
They have a
organization.
fantastic running back.
I don't want to.
I don't believe in Robert. I don't believe in their organization.
I wouldn't trade places with the Panthers or the
Patriots.
The Patriots. I think maybe not the Bears. The Bears. I don't know if I want to be the Bears.
Titans.
Titans. Their defense still plays.
Yeah,
they have a running back.
Levis isn't terrible.
Levis isn't
Cardinals.
terrible. Cardinals. I mean,
Giants.
All right, fine. Okay, so there's maybe a few more teams I wasn't.
Saints.
Okay.
No, Saints are definitely better. I would be the Saints over the Commanders.
Yeah, I would take the Saints too.
I would Kamara and a good defense. I'm in.
Well, and Olave's not like a pushover.
Olave, yeah.
Olave, like with a better quarterback, we're talking about him the same way we talk about AJ Brown. He's huge. He's huge. Oh, on Patriots Steelers, are you going to watch 1 minute of this game on Thursday?
Absolutely not. Billy Zappi versus
Mitch.
Call him
Mitch.
Billy.
Trubisky.
What's his name?
Bailey.
Billy.
Bill. Yeah, I thought it was Billy too. Okay.
It's Bailey.
Zappy and Trubisky.
Is it Zappy? I mean, they change quarterbacks weekly.
Zappi.
Okay.
I
bet you both of them play.
It may not even be on the second screen. I may have the Wizards on the second screen.
Oh, no, don't do that.
I mean, the Wizards are LP. How many minutes of Wizards basketball have you watched?
It's so hard. I try to watch. I don't last.
I feel like he's like low key, like actually watching with like just like a bucket of chips, just force feeding.
Wearing like a John Wall jersey from 2016.
John Wall, you wish. I'm yearning for the Gilbert Arenas years. The last time this team was actually relevant, like consistently outside of one magical run. This team is so bad.
And I mean, rebuilding sucks.
Oh.
You know, I will change my mind about the in-season tournament because I think
it's been good.
Yeah, it's gotten really good towards the end.
It's good now. LeBron was playing real minutes down the stretch yesterday.
Yeah. And I think
the Bucks,
if that's the case.
Yeah.
If it makes,
there's got to be like a cash prize or something. They got to be playing for something.
They do. They get cash. They get I think
like they all get like Kias or something when they win.
No, I think they get $500K
each.
Yeah.
Or like the MVP gets it.
No, each player on the team.
I mean,
I'm pretty sure.
It's interesting.
I think it's more the big names want to go down in history as like the first in-season tournament winner.
I think they value the money.
No, like I think LeBron wants it on his resume.
Like, why can we LP? Do you think they can get the go-go teams or like the G League teams into the competition? Make it more like Euro soccer where it's like all the teams and you draw and you play. Like what? I don't see the value of playing only or like American teams, like U.S. teams versus Mexican teams or something. Like there's got to be some draw outside of just the same teams playing each other because we already see these matchups. I don't know. Like they gotta. It's an interesting idea.
I get it. I get it more so now because based off the last few games when it was getting more into playoff seeding, it's essentially to spell the whole resting your starters thing. The question is, can that carry over next year, the year after, or whatever? Are players going to still care? Or are they going to eventually just treat the in-season tournament as?
I mean, the Wizards should care because what a phenomenal story that would be for a team to win the in-season tournament and finish with 3 wins on the season in the actual NBA season. Which the Wizards are historically bad. Jordan Poole,
right?
I don't like. Maybe we just had the wrong expectations of like he was never going to be Gilbert Arenas, but he's not even like Larry Hughes. Like he's like 15 points a game. Like,
yeah.
What is this? You know, like, and Gilbert.
I think.
He's the perfect. He's a perfect player to tank.
I think what you do is you get rid of the draft lottery, and you find a way to use the in-season tournament to dictate your drafting order.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Or do something like baseball does with the winner of the All-Star game. Do they still do that where they host? Like the winning division of the All-Star game hosts the extra game in baseball. I don't know. I gotta get Steve in here because on one last topic, the baseball. Does anyone understand how the Nats yesterday went into the MLB Draft Lottery? Okay, our Nats, their number was called to be the first overall pick, and the league said no, you're disqualified from being the first overall pick because you were part of the revenue share. Something, whatever, and you were part of the top 10 last year. Sorry, it can't be you. They go pick another ball. It ended up being the Cleveland Indians or the Guardians, whatever they're called now. Then they go to pick the second team. Did you guys know all this? And then they go pull the second ping pong ball out of the thing. It's the Nats. So we had the first pick. We were disqualified. We got the second pick, again disqualified. Not eligible. Nats end up picking 10th. Someone has to explain this to me like I'm 5 because like you stink. You have a reasonable odds at winning the draft lottery to be able to draft first. You're disqualified from drafting first. You get picked to draft second. You're disqualified from drafting second. They're drafting 10th. It sucks. Like I don't understand. Like I don't. Does anyone understand? Does anyone know?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, your eyes are glazing over. We've been talking for 10 seconds. You're already falling asleep. LP, do you have any idea what's going on?
It's an interesting way to, I guess, keep teams competitive. I don't know. I hate tanking. Like what the Wizards are doing is
talk to your boy FP.
Killing me.
He's all for it.
I'm not
I hate tanking.
trying to tank. I'm just saying you keep Braun and ensure you tank by accident.
Well, the Wizards are tanking.
Like an innocent tank.
Which DC team is not tanking currently? Which one are we supposed to be cheering for?
The Caps.
Even DC United is tanking.
Well, DC United has been the doormat of the Eastern Conference for 10 years now.
They don't even have a coach.
I mean, why don't you put in
your boy Wayne he's already coaching in another league in England.
Of course he is. How is Wayne Rooney? How is Wayne? FP was so. How is Rooney, Ibrahimovic, and like Ronaldo all the same age? How are they all the same age? I don't get it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're all the same age.
Ronaldo and Rooney are the same age.
Ronaldo, Rooney, and Ibrahimovic are all the same age. Actually, Rooney I think is the youngest of the bunch at 38.
I think it depends on how hot your girlfriend is.
I mean, let's.
I think Rooney's pounded 100 too many beers.
Yeah, he doesn't have a football.
He's a big boy. Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah,
and Ronaldo's pounding 100 or 200 models. So,
well, not in Saudi. Different rules in Saudi. Different rules in Saudi. All right, to be continued off air. Any final thoughts, FP?
I'm not rooting for the tank, but I hope we lose. I truly don't think we win another game, even if we were to try.
I agree with you. LP, final thoughts?
I wasn't rooting for the tank until we lost last week, and I don't know why.
Full on tank mode.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point?
I just want to beat the Cowboys.
Why?
A big 0-6 in the division.
It's gonna happen. We're gonna win.
If you beat the Cowboys and it causes them to lose first seed, 100% yes.
There's a lot of fantasy implications down the stretch here. Like in years past, there was like talk of, we're going to sit our starters, whatever. Depending on what happens on Sunday night between, is it Eagles and
Giants or Cowboys?
No, Eagles Cowboys is Sunday night. Yeah. Like you could end up just given the way it is that teams are all still jockeying for position going into the final 2 weeks of the season. That is awesome for fans.
Even more so on the AFC side for the 1 seed.
Yes. But it's good for fantasy owners too that don't have to like scramble to, make changes or whatever. But all right, to be continued. Thank you, boys, for making time. The show is DTC. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Available on all social media platforms and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just search DTC or Defeating the Curse. Until next time, we're out.